This is Alaska, a state so massive that it dwarfs some of the most powerful nations in the world. Let's compare. Alaska is bigger than the United Kingdom, Germany, Japan, and France individually and combined. In fact, Alaska is roughly 12.5% larger than all four nations together. Globally, only 15 of the 193 UN-recognized countries are larger than Alaska in terms of land area. Given its size, you might expect Alaska to have a population similar to countries like the United Kingdom. But the reality is far from that. Alaska is more than 6 times the size of the UK, yet its population is just 736,000, 98% smaller. Even the relatively small state of Pennsylvania has about 20 times more residents than Alaska. Alaska's population aligns more closely with mid-sized US cities rather than states. For example, the city core of San Antonio, Texas, has a population that's roughly double the entire population of Alaska. This raises an intriguing question. Why does Alaska, with all its vast land, have so few residents compared to its size? To understand this unusual disparity, we need to look back through Alaska's history and explore how it became one of the most sparsely populated places in the US, despite its incredible size and potential. Stay tuned as we delve into the factors that have shaped this unique predicament. Modern Alaska's story began in 1867 when the United States bought it from Russia for $7.2 million. At that time, Alaska wasn't a state, but a US territory. It remained this way until January 3, 1959, when Alaska and Hawaii became the 49th and 50th states in the US. A lot happened during the 92 years between the purchase and Alaska's statehood. Gold was discovered in 1880, leading to the incorporation of Juneau in 1900. Fairbanks followed in 1903, and Anchorage was established in 1915. Just 2 years later, in 1917, Denali National Park was created. The Alaska Railroad was completed in 1923, and the Alaska Highway System was built during World War II in 1942. While this isn't a complete list of events, it highlights Alaska's early development and growing importance. But Alaska's story didn't stop there. What happened after it became a state might be even more significant. Just 2 years before gaining statehood, oil was discovered in the Swanson River area. This find changed everything. Soon, more oil deposits were found across the state, transforming Alaska into a critical hub for one of the world's most valuable resources. This discovery permanently shaped Alaska's role in American society and economy, cementing its importance well beyond its vast size and natural beauty. The history of Alaska's settlement, combined with its modern contributions, shows why it holds a unique place in the US. Like Hawaii, Alaska isn't connected to the rest of the United States. Instead, it sits about 500 miles from Washington state. However, traveling between Alaska and the lower 48 states isn't so simple. It requires passing through parts of Canada, making the journey more like a couple of thousand miles in reality. This vast distance led to the creation of the Trans-Alaska Pipeline, which was finished in 1977. Its construction wasn't easy, though, as it faced countless setbacks, opposition, and challenges along the way. The pipeline became essential for transporting oil across the state, especially after significant oil reserves were discovered. Interestingly, Alaska's oil boom happened around the same time. Internal combustion engines were becoming more widespread. This timing was crucial as it aligned with growing interest in making Alaska part of the US. Lawmakers in Washington, D.C. saw Alaska's potential, especially with its vast natural resources, and pushed for it to officially join the Union. But this discussion isn't about Alaska's establishment or its resources. It's about why so few people live there. Despite its size, beauty, and abundance of resources, Alaska remains one of the least populated states in the US. By 1970, Alaska's population had grown to 300,000, up from 226,000 just a decade earlier. Most of these residents lived in urban areas, where the oil and construction industries were booming. This growth marked an increase of about 32% from 1960 to 1970, which was a healthy rate. However, even if Alaska had continued growing at the same pace from 1970 to today, it would still only have a population of around 1.1 million people. This would be a 34% increase from the current population of 732,000. But it still wouldn't be enough to make Alaska one of the most populated states in the US, especially considering its enormous size. Unfortunately, the state's growth slowed down after that. And today, Alaska remains far from reaching a population of even 1 million residents. Despite its vast land area, Alaska has one of the lowest population numbers in the country. There are several reasons why Alaska has such a small population and low population density. One of the main factors is the state's geography and climate. While the weather and terrain can vary across the state, overall, Alaska is known for being very cold and mountainous. The state's landscape is often harsh and difficult to travel through, with an average temperature range from 0 to -30 degrees Fahrenheit between November and March. Alaska is home to 17 of the 20 tallest mountain peaks in the United States, and it has more than 3 million lakes and 3,000 rivers. The state also experiences a lot of seismic activity, meaning earthquakes are more common in Alaska than anywhere else in the U.S. These natural challenges have made it tough to build and develop the state for over a century. But it's not just the harsh natural conditions that have kept Alaska's population small. The state's location, being one of the northernmost major settlements in the world and far from the rest of the U.S., has also made it difficult for people to settle there in large numbers. Before I go deeper into why so few people live in Alaska, it's important to understand why the 736,000 people who do live there choose to stay. One big reason is that Alaska offers its residents and businesses some financial advantages. For example, it is one of only 8 U.S. states that does not have an individual income tax. Additionally, the Alaska Permanent Fund pays residents every year simply for living there. This fund is made possible by a portion of the state's oil revenue, which is in surplus. This is rare these days, especially when many states are struggling to find ways to cover rising costs. While people in other states worry about higher taxes and increasing expenses, Alaskans receive money from their state's surplus oil income. In addition to the permanent fund, Alaska offers a relatively high median household income of about $80,000. The median home price is around $338,000, which is reasonable considering the state's economy. The economy in Alaska is supported by industries such as tourism, oil, gas, construction, and real estate. These factors make Alaska an attractive place to live for those who can handle the challenges the state offers. Alaska has a total GDP of nearly $50 billion, with one of the highest per capita GDPs in the nation at almost $70,000. While these numbers show that Alaska's economy is solid, I believe the state's beauty, vast open spaces, and emphasis on personal freedom are what attract people more than anything else. Of course, there are some who truly enjoy the harsh Arctic winters. Alaska has more coastline than all the lower 48 states combined, but much of it is frozen. So activities like swimming or sunbathing aren't really an option. The culture in Alaska is tougher and more focused on self-reliance. While the culture may vary by region, the main themes are individualism, nature, and outdoor recreation. If you're interested in learning more about life in Alaska, including details about its major cities like Anchorage, Fairbanks, and Juneau, I can provide a deeper look into the livability and opportunities in those areas. Alaska has seen a slight population growth of just 2.6% since 2010, and it has remained one of the least populated states in the U.S. since it became a state. We've already discussed how the long, harsh winters, difficult land, and isolation contribute to its low population. But there are other factors too. One key reason for the small population is Alaska's late start. It was the last state to join the U.S., becoming a state only 63 years ago. Additionally, much of Alaska's land is owned by the government or corporations, or is difficult to use due to its challenging geography. Even though Alaska offers affordable housing and good job opportunities, the cost of living is high because of the challenges in shipping goods. It's far from the mainland, which makes transportation difficult. Plus, Alaska lacks many of the city amenities that people in other states might take for granted. The environment is harsh, with long periods of darkness and icy conditions. And the wildlife, while beautiful, can be dangerous or hard to find. What do you think about this video? Let me know in the comments below. Please like, subscribe. Thanks for watching,